Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Sir Tommy P., Defender of the Faith.
And I am Hempress William.
And we are the Nephilim Murder Crew.
That is who we say we are.
And it is Sunday, so that must mean it is time for another Catholic chat.
That is what we do on Sundays.
Yes. And it's funny because we had this one picked out since last Sunday. We talked about it a little bit on Wednesday, and then yesterday some big news hits.
Yeah,
and it
was a big event.
It doesn't necessarily pertain to this, but also
it doesn't really make it look like it's any less end of the worldy.
Right. So that's what we're here. We are here to talk about. I know it says Catholic prophecy, but it's one specific Catholic prophecy that just keeps coming up over and over and over.
Yeah.
Lots of variations of the same prophecy since the 4th century.
Yeah,
I think it was the first.
That was the earliest one.
I have notes here, people. Old man notes that I'm going to have to dig into because there's just a lot of information. It's one thing to absorb it; it's another thing to have to repeat it to other people.
It definitely is. I was having big issues in like getting the script and the links and everything together, and I'm like, I just have so much like crammed in here, and I don't know how to get it from in here out of here.
So I think the first known written prophecy of this is Saint Cataldas from the 4th century. Saint Cataldas, 4th century. So 4th century, again in the 6th century, a couple times in the 12th century, all the way up to the 19th century. And then there's also been various Marian apparitions that all talk about the same prophecy and how to protect yourself from it and that kind of stuff. And so we're gonna talk to you guys a little bit about that today. What is this prophecy? And how can you do the best you can to save yourself from the worst of it?
Yeah. A little bit of prep work.
Yeah.
A little bit of pre-workout for end times. On a soul level.
So, hello there, Mad Miller.
Good evening.
Also, we are doing something new. We always do something new on Sundays, it seems like. This is like our test bed for the show. It just has accidentally turned out to be that way.
Well, it's instead of like doing one-off tests, we just made a whole other show, on a different day a week to make sure that we can do what we want to do. So
what we are doing this week that is different is we are now streaming live to X.
Well, it's not showing me that we're doing that. But we have it all set up to do that.
It says I'm streaming here to X. Weird. If you
where is it going though?
I don't know. Yeah, it's not showing. Weird. It
Yeah.
says I am streaming at a ridiculous rate right now.
Yeah.
We're using up bandwidth like a mofo.
Some poor Twitter account's getting streamed to right now.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Did we get our check mark?
No, that's the account I'm logged in on.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had to pay Mr. Musk for the privilege of using his
app.
His app if I wanted to stream to it, and now it's not even working.
No, it's not even doing the thing it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So that'll be something we'll try to figure out this week.
Okay.
Now we have 3 days to figure out how to stream to X.
Yeah.
So.
Good evening, Tenacious Thorn Leon.
Oh, good evening, Leon. How you doing, bud?
So
You inside for the evening? No Florida mosquitoes gonna get you and carry you off.
So yeah, we are here to talk about this specific Catholic prophecy, and that is the Great Chastisement.
Ah, yes, that's the one.
Now, what a lot of people think happening right now is the end times. We think might possibly just be the Great Chastisement. Now, let's preface this by saying there's the Great Chastisement. Then after the Great Chastisement, there will be the rise of the Great Catholic monarch.
Yeah.
So you'll have a great Catholic monarch, which is supposed to be in France. Should be a French monarch. He will rise up. Then you'll have the Holy Pope. The Pope will finally become holy again. And you'll have the Catholic monarch and the Holy Pope reign. And that's supposed to be a short time. Some people believe 20 to 30 years. Some people say less than 100. But after that,
a generation.
A generation.
Usually the verbiage used.
And then the general belief is that when the Catholic monarch dies, then the Antichrist will be who comes in and replace him.
Yeah.
So he will be seen as the next great savior after the great Catholic monarch, and he will actually turn out to be the Antichrist.
A big old problem.
So that's kind of the basis of what we're talking about here now, and a lot of this goes into like what you see today happen in the, especially the Catholic Church. Everything here revolves around all this prophecy. We're talking about the Catholic Church. So yes, there's lots of nonsense going on in regular Protestant churches. But depending on who you are and who you talk to, those don't count as real churches anyway.
Yeah.
So the Catholic Church, being the one true holy church founded by Christ, is the only one that really matters as far as prophecy goes.
Yeah. That's who the people involved in these prophecies are talking about, because a majority of them existed when there was nothing else.
Yeah.
And B, it is the one true church. So that's the theory that they're running on. That's the truth that they're living. So that's what it applies
From
to.
the 4th to the 15th, 16th century, there was only the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
There was one church. Well, up until was 11 or before the schism with the Orthodox, there was only one church, and then there was one church but two churches, but still Orthodox and Catholic. So really,
the same.
They're the only true apostolic succession founded by Jesus churches.
Yes. Yeah, everything else is. I went and got this piece of paper and said I could be a pastor.
Yeah, I want to say everybody else is in schism, but everybody else is in schism. This is our Catholic show. If you don't want to hear this shit about you being in schism, tune out, man. I'm sorry.
And that's fine. We do not hold that against you.
Yeah, no, we could be friends.
Yeah.
I'm saying strictly from a religious, biblical the hierarchy of church, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Like the Catholic Church it's the original church. There's no denying it. You can't look at church history and say any other thing.
Yeah.
Everything else came from the Catholic Church.
From the Catholic Church. It's all an offshoot of it.
Right.
Yeah. So all of these are pertaining to the
Catholic Church.
Catholic Church.
So let me see. Oh, and then also a lot of the, I don't want to say modern mystics. It's not a weird thing about Catholicism that I'm probably going to have to do a whole show on because I don't fully understand myself yet, is Catholic mystics.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not quite sure what a Catholic mystic is, other than prophecy is one of the things, because a lot of them were talking about this stuff.
Right.
But yeah, not quite 100% sure what a Catholic mystic is.
I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet.
Yeah, we're baby Catholics. We're not properly catechized. Don't take everything we say as word here. Like, we're just letting you know, like, hey, we stumbled into this information from semi-trustworthy sources.
Right. And thought that it'd be worth sharing.
Yes, but I don't know everything there is to know about all of this stuff, so forgive me. We're just kind of trying to give you a direction. If you're interested in stuff like this, look into this. It's pretty neat.
It is pretty interesting. Even if you aren't Catholic, it's interesting.
And at some point in the show, I will bring up a thing and show you where you can go and find a lot of these cool prophecy information by a decent person. So,
oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah. So anyway, a lot of the more modern, when I say modern, 19th, 20th century mystics have been predicting around October 2024 is when this is really supposed to get spicy.
Yeah,
like,
not good.
Things are going to get spicy. Okay, so another big thing to think about that a lot of these prophecies definitely speak of is that these types of problems are going to rise in the church in a time when the church is under synod, not councils, not ecumenical councils. Before, the way we did everything in the Catholic Church and still technically are supposed to is through ecumenical councils, Council of Trent, Council of Nicene, Council of Istanbul, all the different councils. Right now, the church is pushing the higher ups in the Catholic Church are trying to push more of a synodal church. So, and what it says right here is, at this point in time, when things are really getting bad, the church is going to start performing heresies under synod, or under a synod, not a council. So they're going to push for it to be a synodal church. And what are they doing right now? They're pushing for it to be a
Pushing.
synodal church.
Yeah, they got a huge convention going right now.
Yeah, the church will be almost completely destroyed from within, which is kind of happening as we speak. But it will not be destroyed because, as we all know,
Because it can't be.
yeah, as we know, Peter, you are the rock of the church on, and the gates of hell shall not prevail
Shall not
against it.
prevail against it.
So,
Yep.
but it will almost destroy the church.
It'll be pretty rough.
Yeah, and then another thing that they all kind of talk about in the Great Chastisement is fire will fall from the sky, and no one will be spared, not the righteous nor the evil. Like, it's just God's not going to
It's
be like,
indiscriminate.
yeah, God's not just going to be like, all right, you guys are great. Like, no, you'll come home and see me. I
And
guess like there will be indiscriminate, be like the days of Noah.
And it's so indiscriminate because we let it get that bad.
Yeah,
We didn't say, no, we don't do that around here when we should have. And because of that, like, it's going to be indiscriminate because there's no way to really, like, break it down to who's deserving and undeserving. Y'all all messed up. Everybody gets punished.
yeah. A lot of these talk about under the Synodal Church, there false idols and false gods will be worshipped in the Vatican. And then if you look at the Amazon Synod, which happened in the Vatican in St. Peter's Basilica, they worship the idol of Pachamama.
Yeah, October 6th, 2019.
Yeah, and then what happened 2 months after that?
Yeah, the germs came.
COVID. Oh, yeah. Now whether God allowed that to leak from a lab or whether he allowed the people to purposely let it out, like
Whatever
it-
the circumstances were, it's just
yeah,
isn't that interesting?
these things that are happening right now seem to be punishments from God for allowing the things that are happening,
Yeah.
allowing the worship of false idols, not just in the Vatican, which is absurd that happens, but if you look all around the world, there's definitely a resurgence of the pagan religions right now.
Oh yeah, and there has been for, I would say, at least the last 20 years.
Yeah, and I don't know
it's
how many.
just gotten bigger, and those people have gotten like deeper in their conviction.
I don't.
Because they've been able to get away with it for that
Yeah,
long.
and I don't know how many people take it seriously or not, but the amount of people that I see walking around with Thor hammers,
Thor hammers, yeah.
yeah, like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, do people even know what that means? Is that just a trendy thing these days? Like,
It kind of is, but it kind of isn't.
Well,
Like,
it doesn't
that's the
matter-
thing is they don't have Christianity to fall back on, so they have all the Hollywood depictions of
yeah,
the false G gods that they're supposed to depict to you and get you to worship them, and then that's one of the prophecies basically says that any sort of false idol worship will lead us to this, and the more that we embrace it, the more that we, the closer we get to it. And all I heard in that was like all of our entertainment media.
yeah,
Every single bit of it. The music, the TV shows, the movies. All it does is provide to us, the same 10 storylines out of the Bible, but wrapped up differently.
yeah. But like, but basically, yeah, we're being punished right now. And I've been saying this for a while. Don't expect things to get better. It's like,
And not in like a doom and gloom kind of way. It's just like in a realistically, it's just, there's no like magic switch to flip to make things better.
right. And yeah, like America's definitely being punished, and it's funny that I used to truly believe, America was a Christian nation and we made God happy. A Christian, we developed this great democracy that pleased God, and you're kind of brought up to believe that God
Yeah,
is
that's
pleased
true.
by our freedom of religion. So God's pleased that you're free to worship any fake idol you want in this country. That
Yeah.
pleases God.
I used to think that, and then I found out the Freemasons were founded in like 1717. And
Yeah.
then I was like,
Well, the
whoops.
Freemasons, the sacred or the secret sects,
Yeah,
as they
yeah.
talk about since the 400s, is basically been variations of Freemasons. It's another thing people don't realize is this is a long game for a lot of the elites. Like, this stuff has been being planned and played out for hundreds, if not 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's a long, slow game.
And like even their kids are in on it. Like their kids might not know that they're in on it, but like whatever, like they make plans generations ahead of time. So if they get whoever's in positions of power, they get their children, bring them up in a way that can be comparable to what they do to keep their mission going forward.
Regardless, there's always a younger person in the sect to come up and take the place of the
Yeah.
older person. It doesn't have to be your kids. There's just But
no, it's just
but yeah, these are the planning of the American Constitution, where they gave freedom of religion specifically to worship any god, knowing that it would lead us to where we are at today. It's a long game plan. It's 100 years, 200, 300 years out, where they sow these small seeds and let them flourish to nonsense.
Yeah. And because that small seed was planted because they were fleeing England, and that the Church of England at the time is beholden to the king.
Right.
And so we can't be free of this guy.
Well,
We just fought a war to not do that.
some of them.
That's where the argument comes from, is freedom of religion.
Yes,
right?
and that's what
Because
they sold
if
the
we-
people on.
Yeah.
But that's not what the
That's not
majority
what
of the founding
actually-
fathers meant.
Right.
They sold the people on that, meaning you're free to really, knowing that the people at the time would take it that way. Like, yeah, who's worshiping false idols, right? You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah, that doesn't exist.
But knowing
No,
that
but
in
they
a couple
knew.
100 years, when they put other things in place to separation of certain church and state and weed people away from God, they knew
Oh.
how it would go.
Like when the Supreme Court makes decisions to take the Lord's Prayer out of school, and then like that kind of stuff
Yeah.
that'll happen a few hundred years later.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, so I don't believe that America is this shining city that God loves anymore. I see it for what it is, as an affront to the Lord. We basically made rules of everything that displeases Him.
Yeah, that's
freedom of
true.
expression, freedom of religion. This is all nonsense in the eyes of the Lord. Find me a democratic system anywhere in the Bible. The
Oh,
Lord
yeah,
never
there's not
intended
one.
us to be ruled by democracy. It was always a righteous
Patriarchy.
king. Some kings are better than others.
Monarchy, right?
The Christian monarchy or a Catholic monarchy at these days, but yeah, that's the system God had intent. And you have good kings and you have bad kings, but look at democracy. What has that gotten you? Nothing but a bunch of shitty leaders.
Like so many of them that you can't even hold any of them accountable.
No, rather than give somebody who desperately wants power over you, just make it some natural fluke of you're born into it.
Yeah.
It's a roll of the dice, man. This guy was born into it. He didn't ask for it. He just showed up and it was put on his shoulders.
Yep. He's just got to do the job.
I think you'll get better results that way. That's just my opinion.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and I completely lost what we were talking about there now, Mike.
Well, we went down the thread of monarchy.
Yeah, for sure. We went down that rabbit hole a little bit. It also
Started at the synods.
also definitely leads into everybody seems to be focused on fighting the wrong enemy. The enemy is not the elites and the politicians and whoever else. The enemy is the enemy. It's evil, Satan.
Yeah.
These people may represent, are being controlled by him, but at the end of the day, they have no real power.
No, they
At
don't.
the end of the day, this is a spiritual battle.
They're just little minions.
So the most powerful weapon you have is prayer. And if you believe a lot of these prophecies and apparitions, the actual prayer is the rosary.
Yeah. That's the main takeaway from any Catholic prophecy is at the end.
Pray the rosary.
Pray the rosary.
If as many people as humanly possible pray the rosary, we can make the chastisement as little as possible.
Yeah. And it was in some of the work that I was doing this afternoon before the show. It really settled into me, and I kind of realized that the idea of doing the rosary and having the prayer and having that time with Mary is almost like you get a phone call from school, right? And they call, and your mom's home, and they find out that you've just been a total POS. And you know that as soon as your daddy gets home, you're gonna get some licks. You're gonna get a couple of whoopings, and you can't embarrass his good name like that. So for me, doing the rosary bit, it settled into me that it's almost like having that talk with your mom. Like, Mom, I swear I will do better. I'll take out the garbage for a whole week. I am so sorry. I will not act that way anymore. Just put in a good word for me with Dad. Let him know that you already kind of punished me and I feel real bad. And then maybe when he gets home, I'll just get that. Don't embarrass me. That's how it settled in for me.
Right.
And I don't think that that's completely unreasonable. I don't think that it's completely outside the realm of possible things. And at the end of the day, what the heck harm is it going to do?
Yeah.
And especially if you have thousands of people throughout all spans of time saying, hey, if you do this, you might just be okay. Like, not only you might just be okay, but I was explicitly given instructions that this is what we're supposed to be doing.
Right. I honestly don't know where I come down on all of this at the moment. As far as I can't go on believing the Protestant version of Mary that I was taught.
Mm-hmm.
As in, meaning there is really no significance to Mary at all.
Right, yeah.
Like, God chose this woman to be the son of God,
for no,
or to be the mother
reason.
of God.
Yeah.
He chose her to be literally the mother of God. Most holy woman ever. Vessel for the baby Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
But she has no significance at all to us after that. Like, she spit out the child and, like...
Yep.
That's it?
That's good. Good enough.
Yeah.
That seems a little of the enemy.
Yes.
That seems like somebody who would want you to not value human life, which have you believe in.
Yeah, I don't buy that. So I don't, knowing what I know now, that you don't pray to Mary. You don't ask Mary for anything other than to pray for you, to intercede on your behalf.
Put in a word for me.
Yeah. It doesn't mean you don't pray to Jesus. You don't pray to God. You do both.
You do.
Even when you're praying the rosary, you still do the Lord's Prayer, the Glory Be, the Apostles' Creed. Like you're still praying to God, but you're also, anybody who doesn't know the Hail Mary, blessed is thy seed. Something.
Something of.
Yeah, it's still basically Jesus.
I have to read the card.
Yeah, I don't know have any of this memorized because we are so new.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely don't buy the Protestant Mary is completely insignificant.
No.
But, and again, since I know that I've never seen a Catholic actually worship Mary, I really guess I don't have to even touch on that argument.
Yeah.
That's just a straw man nonsense argument that Catholics worship Mary.
Yeah, I think it's just the first insult that you hurl out when you start the argument.
Yeah, it always brings me back to my favorite Fulton Sheen quote. There's not 100 people in America that hate the Catholic religion, but there's millions that hate what they falsely perceive the Catholic religion to be.
Yep.
And I was, like I always say, I was one of them. I used to say, oh yeah, you do this and you do that, and then you look into it and you're like, oh, I get it now. This makes sense.
Not at all what these people were talking about.
Yeah, this makes sense now.
They didn't. Okay.
So where are we at here? We touched on some of the things. Yeah, so think Saint Columba in the 6th century prophesied about the great Catholic monarch and the great chastisement. Brother Louis something in the 19th century. Pope Pius IX in the 19th century. We already talked about Saint Caldatus in the 4th century. Saint Thomas Becket in the 17th century, and Saint Hildegard in the 12th century. So these were all different saints, mostly popes. Man, only one of them was a friar, so a brother. So he was. But yeah, so these are all different various people over the years. That if you want to look into, have prophesied about the great chastisement and the great Catholic monarch. Oh, and obviously the final of the prophecy is peace will not come again until the great monarch takes control of France. And we kind of touched on this Wednesday.
Wednesday, yes.
When we were talking about, let me see. I think I still have that in my bookmarks. Let me bring that up again. No, why is it? I don't want new folders. I want my bookmarks. All bookmarks. Come on. Ever since I paid for it, now they make things hard for me.
As Elon would.
Yeah. Oh, why do I still have that up too? Let me bring that. Okay, here we go.
Switching scenes.
Switching scenes. Here we go. So we talked about this. 200 French election candidates basically quit right before the election so that they could consolidate the left vote against the right party to maintain control. Before they did that, when it looked like the right was going to win, the Antifa, the Mohammedans, they all took to the street, started burning the city down like they always do.
Yes.
So what does that mean for any of this? Well, that means that the left government will stay in control. what the left government has been saying for a while now, if you guys ever listen to French President Macron, he's openly talking about launching missiles into Russia and sending ground troops to fight Russia over Ukraine. Which anybody who knows anything knows that that would trigger NATO treaty, and all of Europe and
Everybody
us
will have to follow
would be
suit.
forced to now fight a hot war with Russia, which Russia would start launching nukes, as everybody knows.
Yeah.
Because what else are they going to do?
I mean, yeah.
Like-
Well, and also, we already have deceived them.
Right. So, and we talk about the prophecies, fire raining from the sky. It sounds a lot like nuclear war to me.
You know, I did not think of that until you said it right that moment.
Yeah. I mean, we all know nuclear weapons are fake, but they got really powerful bombs that
Right,
look
they do.
pretty
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
Fuck some shit up.
Well, and all of that comes from part of the Fatima prophecy, where Russia is supposed to be consecrated to the
This-
Immaculate Heart of Mary.
Right. And no pope did that. And so in 1917, so basically right before the Bolsheviks took over Russia, part of the Fatima one was, yes, that the pope needed to consecrate Russia to the Sacred Heart.
Right, and to stop the Russian errors.
Yes. And the pope never did that. And then shortly after, the Bolsheviks took over.
Yeah, how did that go? Terribly.
Right. So I know a lot of this prophecy does tie into communism a little bit too.
Well, I mean, we all know that communism is the usurpation of God by government.
Right.
Like everything goes, and all you have is communism.
Yes. Another thing to talk about that always goes along with the Great Chastisement is the 3 days of darkness.
Oh yeah.
So, the 3 days of darkness is basically going to be 3 days of darkness, no light. The sun will not shine. You will get no light from the moon. There will be no light from stars.
There'll be nothing.
There will be nothing. No artificial light source will work. The only thing that will work is blessed wax candles.
Yes.
And it says that one blessed wax candle will last the entire 3 days.
The full 3 days. Yeah.
And basically what it says is the Lord is going to open up the gates of hell and let evil rampage the earth to kill evil men.
Mm-hmm.
It says that you are
don't
not to
even
look
wanna,
out the
like, go
windows.
outside.
Do-
Don't
yeah,
look outside.
Don't look out the windows. Do not look out the door. Do not. You're going to hear some crazy things.
Don't you do
Just
it.
don't do it. Just sit by your
Just
blessed
sit by the
candle
blessed candle
and pray. And you will be okay, is how that goes. But yeah, anybody who does not do that, who goes outside, who peeks outside, who does not have their blessed candle,
Yeah, you're done for.
is just they're gonna die in the most
Game
horrific
over.
ways as possible.
Yeah. We've all seen enough scary horror movies. We know
Yeah,
how it goes.
I had they say only one third of humanity will survive that.
Yeah, the 3 days of darkness.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be
So-
it's gonna be rough.
Right.
There is a small caveat to the candles, a little bit of nitpickiness. There is some people who profess beeswax candles, beeswax blessed candles, and then there's other people who are like, a blessed candle is a blessed candle, homie. So, do with that what you will. But
Yes.
you would have found that out when you go looking into this on your own.
And then another thing it says for how to protect yourself, not only against the 3 days of darkness, but just in general in the chastisement,
the chastisement in
would
general.
be display an image of Jesus' Sacred Heart,
Mm-hmm.
display an image of Divine Mercy. If you don't know what these are, look them up. Sacred Heart of Jesus, an image of Divine Mercy. You can wear the brown scapular.
That is
People
also
familiar
an
with the
option.
brown scapular. The purple scapular. And then
Pray the
pray
rosary.
the rosary. Pray the rosary is what they say is the absolute most important. Pray the
Yep.
rosary.
And
So
also remain in a state of grace,
yeah,
because
there's
they-
no guarantee that you're going to survive it.
well, not only is it no guarantee that you're going to survive it, but it's also in these prophecies at that time, at the end, when the 3 days of darkness is coming, the time leading up to that, like the church is not going to be what we see it as today.
No.
Like it's going to be very limited clergy members left to even offer sacraments.
Yeah,
and the chance of you being in proximity to those situations are very slim.
Yeah.
So the idea of remaining in a state of grace to us in 2024 says, go to church when you're supposed to, get your communion like you're supposed to, and do not sin in the interim. Do your best to not fall out of grace.
Any mortal sins between. Right.
And I think that's a decent enough policy to try to live by anyway.
Yeah, it also says, because during this time period, the church is going to get pretty bad. Priests are going to walk away from the vocation, either because they're crappy people, because they're just who was brought in, or because they're so lukewarm to begin with. They don't have any actual convictions to hold on to and endure what is coming. And then also there's going to be great persecution of the church at this point in time too.
Yes, not only is it we have a bunch of lukewarm people within its midst, everybody on the outside hates us and they don't want us around. So
there's definitely going to be the age of martyrs again.
Yeah.
So there's
far off, probably.
Just got to remember that. Right now we live in a nice, as much as people say, oh, Christians are persecuted these days,
not like we could be.
Yeah, y'all know persecution is. Yeah, we're gonna go back to the first century.
I mean, the closest.
It's gonna get gruesome.
Well, the thing, the closest thing to persecution we have right now, go look at the UK.
Yeah.
Go look at how the Mohammedans are treating the United Kingdom for letting them in. It's not good. They're not being polite. They're not just, hanging around and doing their mosques and stuff. They're ripping down crosses. They're assaulting people on the streets. And that's, a jarring thing for people in 2024, but it can get a lot worse.
Right. Oh yeah. So the Fatima and the New World Order.
Oh yes.
Another good thing to talk about right now that you see happening. And this touches into the communism as well. But why, they talk about why is Hollywood basically destroying all the things that you love. Hollywood and music. They take, basically all the old movies that were great. They've remade them recently and ruined them to where everybody hates them so that nobody has anything fond to look back on anymore. Same with music. And that they're basically, they don't want anybody to have any heroes. You can't have the heroes to look up to.
Because if you, in my opinion, if you have the heroes to look up to, then you'll do heroic things.
Yeah, it's all meant to demoralize you.
Yeah.
Nothing demoralizes people than having nothing to look up to, nothing to look forward to.
True.
There's nothing good coming out, no good music you like, no good movies, nobody to look up to. There's no.
Yeah, you're just kind of like.
Yeah, America used to always have a hero, man. Whether it was the president or some
pop idol
or even
movie star.
Even going further back than that, generals.
Yeah.
In the early, World War II, pre-World War II. It was always some great general or some great politician that rallied the people. You always used to have a hero.
Yeah, there was somebody everybody could get behind and was a good.
Even when I was growing up,
example.
When I was a kid in the 80s, your average cop and firefighter looked at as a hero.
That's true.
Nowadays, Nowadays, cops are bad guys, and for good right. They are bad guys.
But now the fucking firefighters are bad guys too. Yeah. And all they're trying to do is save your bitch ass from a burning building and get your bitch ass out of a freaking wrecked vehicle.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to firefighters. Man. I don't know why firefighters took such a bad hit, but
do you actually want to know why?
Yeah,
do you want me to tell the internet why?
Yeah.
Because somebody had to give them people fire hoses and keys to the hydrant. Legitimately, that's what they're saying. Firefighters were just as responsible for the racist shit that happened way back when.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Complicit. Silence is violence. Now we hate firefighters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, basically, whether it be the secret sex of Freemasonry or whether it be the communists or the Jews or whoever you want to blame for taking over the world.
Any of the schismatics.
Yeah. But yeah, for any of that to work, you need to be demoralized.
Yeah.
You need to be demoralized. You can't have any heroes. You need to just kind of be a beaten whip dog. And that's what they're doing with you through media and movies and music.
Yeah.
They're just making sure that you have nothing to look forward to. You're much more easily defeated at that point.
Yes.
And
Which is not what we're here for. We're not.
and one of the apparitions in Fatima in 1917 talked about this. And again, shortly after that was the Bolshevik Revolution and the real introduction of communism on the world.
Was it October 13th when they had the big, like the sun
Yeah.
Like came towards everybody, and it says
it was bouncing around in the sky. It was something
I've
weird.
seen a few different explanations of it, and it says tens of thousands. I've heard 50,000. I've heard 70,000, but like that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people to experience the same thing at the same time.
Mm-hmm. It happens, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I believe it, but it's a. I don't know. I couldn't. Not that I couldn't imagine something like that today, but it'd be hecka weird.
Yeah, Our Lady of Great Success was an apparition. 1594, 1634.
Oh yeah, the one where she gets the information, which will subsequently be of Pope Pius the IX's imprisonment.
Yeah, basically though, it talks about how Satan will reign through Masonic sects, and they will focus on the children this time. So this is when they're talking about the Great Chastisement. And one of the big key things from this apparition is how it talks about how Satan will reign through the Masonic sects or the secret sects, basically who set up America and who's running the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And everybody says the Jews run everything. Yeah. So there's the Freemasons never relinquished power. They've always had the power. I don't know if the Jews and the Freemasons do this together. I don't know if the Jews are the Freemasons. I don't know if the Freemasons run the Jews. I don't know what the hierarchy is, but
it's Freemasons.
It's Freemasons. The Jews may fund it all. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how they play into it.
I honestly don't know how the hierarchy of the Illuminati works.
Yeah.
But trust me when I say it's the Freemasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it says at this time that we're living in right now, and they were talking about this in 1594, Satan will reign through the Masonic sects, and they will focus on the children.
Yes.
Seems a lot like what's happening right now is they're really focusing on the children.
Not only focus on the children, but the main goal is to keep them from the sacraments. And one of the ways that has managed to happen is that with the Masonic sects that run the nation and the government and all that stuff, the laws that have been put in place to give people the loose meanings of marriage. Now you can have 2 men married and 2 women married and all that other stuff. In the Our Lady of Good Success, the sacrament of marriage will be desecrated by Masonic laws to encourage children out of wedlock. Not only does it encourage the children out of wedlock, but it also encourages people to not even have children.
Right.
And then what was the other thing that stood out to me? Oh, here we go. At the end of the 19th and 20th century, many heresies will come. Many martyrs will be the result. To test the faith, many times it will seem that all is lost. Innocence will rarely be found in children, and women will be immodest. The Masonic sects find refuge in all classes. So it's not just like the upper class people anymore. It's not just like middle class. They're through every facet of our society.
Yeah.
And the education will be fully secularized is also in this prophecy from way back when.
So yeah, and basically all of them talk about this happening right in the time we live, 20th century, 21st century.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that pretty much all of these prophecies have in common is the timeline. Well, I mean, they all talk about the Great Chastisement, and the Great Catholic Monarch, but then and most of them talk about the 3 days of darkness, but then other goes into specifics like about the kids and about things. But then the other thing they all talk about is the timeline, which is kind of where we're at. So, it kind of makes sense because it does seem like they're trying to force the fulfillment of end time prophecies right now.
Yes, definitely.
And that would definitely lead me to believe that we're nowhere near the end times. We are at the Great Chastisement.
Right.
Well, actually, I won't say we're nowhere near the end time because it's shortly after the Great Chastisement. Well, the Great Chastisement, there's debates on how long that goes on for. It could be hundreds of years, to be honest with you. It could have started, how long ago?
Yeah.
Probably started sometime in the 60s, if I had to guess. But we don't know how long it goes on for. But yeah, so I think we're dealing with the Great Chastisement now. And then you will deal with the Great Catholic Monarch, or not deal with, but have the fortune if you survive.
Right, yeah.
If you survive the Great Chastisement, the Great Catholic Monarch and the Holy Pope. And then after that comes the Antichrist.
Right. And then you have the Reformation, and you definitely don't want to be around for that.
Right.
Because it's A, going to be super rough to get there, but B, ain't not a bunch of y'all going to be left.
So, yeah, that kind of is... Oh, man, we've been on this whole time. Well, me putting that with just that up on the screen.
Yeah, it's all right.
That's all right. Whatever.
They'll forgive us.
Yeah. I can't say I was, look, I'm back in the chair and then none of these screw-ups.
Well, at least we weren't, I was about to say, at least we weren't muted this whole time.
No, we were not muted.
So we got that going for us. We're streaming on the two platforms we intended to.
Yeah. There's some picture of us here.
It's good. That's all right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. The main takeaway is it's gonna get rough, but everything works out to the glory of God.
Yeah. Don't put your faith in men, put your faith in God. Remember that these people are not your enemy. These people are controlled by the enemy.
Yeah.
It may be that they chose it. They may worship the enemy, but at the end of the day, they're just human. They have no control. They are just tools of the enemy. So if you want to focus your attention and your thoughts and prayers on something, focus it on the spiritual end of it, not the politicians and WEF and the Jews and the Freemasons and whoever else you think is responsible for all your problems.
Yeah.
They have no real power in this world.
No.
They are just tools of the enemy. They're tools of Satan. They are tools of evil.
Mm-hmm.
So look at it that way, and the only way to fight that is through prayer.
Yep. And
prayer and fasting.
And if you have a hard time not praying specifically for people, then if you're gonna pray for specific people, you pray that the Holy Spirit moves them, changes them, change their heart, get in there and do some work on them, let them know that they're fucking up. Yeah,
but you're not gonna survive. You're not gonna.
We can't confront them. It's a spiritual thing. It's the Holy Spirit has to do a majority of this work, but for it to do its job, we have to do our job by praying.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that your guns and prepping is useless.
No, it's absolutely not. Don't be a
because you
fucking
can
idiot.
prolong your life. Yeah, you can, but don't go out looking for fights.
No,
don't go out trying to put an end to this because you can't.
And that's not the way that we solve this one.
Yeah, too many people are talking about grabbing their guns and putting an end to this, and it's like you have no control over that.
There's no end to it.
You can't make that decision. It's not your decision to make. It's not my decision to make. It's God's.
Yeah,
God will end this. God ends this.
Part of the reason we're in this mess we're in right now is because people thought they could solve the problem.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you're kind of being punished by God right now for all the world's wicked, sinful ways. Deal with it.
Yeah,
pray. Don't be one of those people that
don't contribute to it at the very least.
Yeah.
Don't make it harder on all of us.
Yeah, pray and ask the Lord to turn it around, man. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna save anybody by going out and doing some dumb shit.
Nope.
You're probably just gonna make things worse, to be honest with you.
For sure. And yeah, not only make it worse, but you'll just play into the bad guy's plan. That's silly.
Yeah.
We don't need to help them win.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys learned something here.
Maybe. Or at the very least, we encourage you to go actually learn something.
Yeah.
Win.
So, yeah, obviously we don't have all the answers on this. But yeah, hopefully we taught you something that you didn't know about that you can now look into further. Oh, you know what? Before I go, I wanted to, where is it? There it is. And you guys can hang out for 3 more minutes while I take my time.
Oh, that's right. We were going to tell them where to go find some more information on Catholic specific stuff. Prophecies. pull up all that.
Now, let me go to his channel.
Oh, I was gonna say it's right there.
Oh, there.
Yep.
I'm not subscribed to that.
Well, not on this account, no.
Oh, that's right. So it's a different account. That's why it wasn't coming up. Okay.
That's all right. We're not subscribed to anybody on our main account.
Yeah. Videos. Where's playlists at? Where'd they go?
The top playlist.
Oh, see, it all looks different. I'm not used
It
to it on a
does, I
computer.
I'm only slightly used to it.
Okay, let me share this screen with you guys. Okay, so he's got some playlists. This is an account called I Miss Christendom.
On the YouTubes.
Yeah, on the YouTubes. If you're interested in anything Catholic, this guy's got videos for it, and they're actually very good. But he's got a whole playlist here for Catholic prophecies. Oh, no.
This brilliant device keeps your home cool in summer,
Get
even
out.
during heat waves and power outages.
Why is it bringing that? View full playlist. There we go.
All right.
So, yeah, there is 28 videos here talking about the various Catholic prophecies, how to survive the chastisement, the Catholic view of the end times. I don't get into the Magoria. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because that is
Hoaxy.
the Catholic Church does not recognize that. Now,
No.
all of this stuff comes from what's called personal revelation. And personal revelation is basically anything that happened after the time of the apostles. The church can verify these things, but no Catholic in any way has to believe it. It's not dogma. Nobody is forced to believe this stuff. The Catholic Church says, yeah, we looked into this. We believe these apparitions to be real.
We verify.
Or we looked into these and we believe that these are false.
Right.
But other than that, nobody's forced to believe that any of these are true or not in the Catholic religion. But yeah, there's lots of stuff here on the Catholic prophecies if you guys are interested in looking into it further. And in a lot of those, you'll get directed towards different books to read, things like that. But man, he really covers a lot of stuff in depth. Really good stuff.
Does a pretty good job. He's a good resource.
Yeah. So if you're interested in it, that's one place you can go find some stuff. Okay. So, well, with that being said, I think we are going to call it a night, people. Thank you for stopping by.
We appreciate you hanging out with us.
Yeah.
And we'll be back on Wednesday.
Yeah, we will be back Wednesday for a normal show.
7:30 p.m.
7:15.
7:15? Yeah, 7:15.
7:15 Central Time.
I'm the one who sets the time and I can't even get it right.
Yeah, what are you doing? All right, everybody. Thank you very much and have a good night.